right, guys, here we are. Game number 5 between Dignitas and ESC. And at the top left part of the map, it is our Terran player in the red. From Dignitas, it is SjoW. And down in the bottom left in the purple from ESC, it is the meching player of choice in Europe. It is GoOdy.
GoOdy.
Meching players choose GoOdy.
3 to 4 meching players choose GoOdy.
That's right.
And as you can see, what you were talking about before, both these guys, not terrifically fast players. A lot of decision making. There's actually a great, I forget if it was a video or if it was a GIF, but it's basically GoOdy sitting back with like a cup of tea contemplating his next move, and then clicks the keyboard once and sits back for another 15 seconds. So
right.
that's about right. But these guys do have some of the absolute best decision making in the game.
Yeah, GoOdy is one of the better TV tiers in Europe. He does definitely have his own style too, so curious to see that brought to the forefront here. And I honestly haven't seen a ton of GoOdy's games lately, so I don't know if he's still playing Mech. I would hope he is. I feel like Mech is the superior way to play in most TVTs, and you know what? This is actually a pretty good map for it too. You can take 3 bases on this map pretty easily and hold them with Mech, so I'm expecting Mech. Mech.
Well, we'll hope for that, if only for your sake. So
thank you. I didn't get Desert Oasis today, so at least give me Mech and TVT.
You hold on till tomorrow. You're going to have 2 Desert Oasis games tomorrow. 2, you hear me?
I hope so. I don't believe it now.
It's okay.
Game over, man. Game over.
Santa Claus is real. He's bringing you Desert Oasis tomorrow.
Wow. That's Santa.
Yeah. Would you want anything else, really? Other than 2 Desert Oasis games? Is there anything that's better than that?
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If I have to be honest with myself, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Desert Oasis. Pretty tempting. All right. Well, looks like SjoW actually going to go for he's one of the players who have been choosing to produce that 16th SEV before going into that orbital command because of way back when the increased build time of the barracks. His opponent, though, GoOdy, going ahead with gas at the normal time, opening up with a reactor first on the barracks.
That's interesting.
Has he pulled off of gas? No. Still continuing to mine that. Sometimes, occasionally, you'll see players that get gas, mine up to 50 gas, and then pull off and go right for an orbital command after that. But, of course, it increases their marine production. But not what we're going to see out of GoOdy.
That's true. On 2 base, he should be able to afford that factory and pump out a couple Marines and some Hellions. I've got a feeling he's going to want to get some reactor Hellions later on in this game, but he's just getting the reactor a little bit early to make sure that he's got enough Marines to deal with things like Banshees and stuff like that. This actually isn't too uncommon in TVT, especially in the European server. I see this fairly often, but we'll have to see kind of where he goes from that. I'm curious to see when exactly he's planning on taking a second gas. So it's kind of looking for that, but
yeah, kind of a weird time for this though, as he is expanding, and we can see that SjoW double gas after his gasless fast expand before putting up another barracks. But GoOdy actually didn't utilize this reactor for quite some time. Let me see if SjoW saw that. No, that's right, because SjoW doesn't scout. He's seen nothing.
But please.
Yeah, SjoW. What was I even doing?
That.
But no, anyway, so GoOdy actually ended up producing these Marines way late, well after that reactor was finished. So kind of a weird way to go about that build.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has his own style as well. We have both kind of relatively unique players here. Looks like both of them are going to be able to get some reactor Hellions, and GoOdy's will come out a little bit sooner. And with those Marines in the middle of the map as well, he can kind of intercept SjoW on his way across if he wants to, and possibly gain like a little bit of early game map control advantage with that.
All right. Well, those reactor Hellions make their way out. SjoW going to have those finished up pretty soon as well.
Right.
Already switching off of those, and we'll see if we get a second factory out of these guys here in just a bit as they do start establishing their economies. We can see 25 workers to 24 in favor of SjoW. He finished up his second orbital command just a little bit faster than GoOdy did.
Both of them going for their starport at about the same time, and I'm curious to see if either one is going to decide to get Banshees with this, or if they're just going to kind of move into medevacs for drops and things like that. Remember, Marine, Hellion, medevac is a really popular early game Terran composition. GoOdy getting a tech lab, so let me see where that is exactly. All right, probably not going to be for Banshees, as it is a little ways away, but could certainly be for a quick combat shield or a stim upgrade.
And we'll find out here momentarily as GoOdy actually making the medevac
okay.
up first, and then going to switch these over. So, yeah, tanks coming up right away. His opponent, though, SjoW, is getting his Vikings up for now and just going into nothing but Viking, Hellion, and really has kind of stopped the Marine production.
You know, this is actually really interesting because it appears that GoOdy is actually going for just standard Marine tank. You know, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of his games lately. He could have been doing this quite a bit in TVT, but it seems like overall, pretty much all the TVT matchups right now that we see are going into just Marine tank again. There was a lot of experimentation going on for a long time, but you know, lately in Korea and in NA and to a certain extent in Europe too, although I haven't seen as many games from there lately, it has just gone back to largely Marine tank players feeling the most comfortable doing that, and so that's what we're going to see.
Kind of cool.
Drop from GoOdy.
Yeah, as SjoW pulled a lot of his forces away, so there's not a lot here that's sitting to defend this. And here comes GoOdy, going to make his way in. Will he be able to pick off the Viking? No, but he does force away a lot of the mining time. And in fact, that missile turret's going to die very quickly. So GoOdy gets a little bit of damage done. Wow, actually, SjoW bringing back in his SCVs a little bit too quick there and picks off the Viking as well. Drop has been pretty well worth it. In fact, that medevac even getting out of there with a few of those Marines.
Yeah, no kidding. And if he repairs that, that was absolutely worth it. A great trade for GoOdy, just trading a couple Marines for a turret, a couple SCVs, a Viking. That's awesome. That definitely pays for itself.
Yeah, no kidding. So he's going to start opening up the destructible rocks towards his third. So maybe going to take a quick third, but it looks like SjoW has already beaten him to the punch. He's got his command center almost finished up as he adds on his second factory for now. We can see GoOdy's next command center, though, is on the way.
Yep, that is correct. And so I wouldn't be surprised at all to see both of these players kind of use those tanks on that high ground to just get a really strong 3-base economy going before doing really anything at this point. We might see a drop or two, but overall, there we go. 3 factories from GoOdy. I knew he wouldn't fail me.
Yes.
It will, of course, be Mech, and like I mentioned at the start of the game, it is a perfect map for Mech. You can move across, especially with these spawn positions, too. I mean, he's going to have a fairly easy time moving across if he's able to get that good Mech army done. If SjoW doesn't do a lot of early damage to him, and SjoW actually choosing to go what appears to be Mech as well, getting Blue Flame Hellions himself.
Yes, he is. He's got 4 factories done himself. Unfortunately, one of these flying away. I think he had that on. Oh, I've done this so many times. If you hotkey all of your production structures to one hotkey, or all of the same production structures to one hotkey, and then you rally them while one is in the air, well, that one you had in the air just heads right to that rally spot. So SjoW going to turn that around in a second, but certainly a mistake that almost everyone makes.
Well, yeah, that's a bit embarrassing. But I think he's going to move it. He might just land it right there, too, and be like, this is my intent all along.
Here's where the factory goes.
Factory! Where were you going?
Yes.
Get back to your spot, man.
Try that factory in a submission.
That's right.
All right.
You know, sometimes factories misbehave, and you have to shut them down.
That is a
like
fact.
Hitting that factory with a rolled-up newspaper is like, bad factory. Oh, you're going... Factory!
Oh, no!
Factory, come on!
He did it again!
Factory!
Oh,
you are a bad factory.
SjoW.
Factory's not getting any treats tonight.
This goes this way. It's
bad
there.
Factory.
That's where that factory lives. Oh.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, I suppose so. And whoa!
Go home, factory.
GoOdy has to watch out. That's a little bit more Hellions than he's got sitting around, so need to move back to his own tank line. And 3-base Mech versus 3-base Mech going to 4-base.
All right.
Oh, man.
Mech. I'm a happy person. Did the factory make it home?
You did it. Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Yay!
Okay, hooray! The factory made it.
Go SjoW!
Sweet. All right. So, we're going to see a lot of tanks out of SjoW, as well as some Thors now, finally. And at this point, I think we're going to see a pretty passive game, believe it or not, from these two players.
No.
I mean it, for sure, yeah.
Not possible.
You know, Mech, even more to a certain extent than Marine Tank, is really a battle of positioning and upgrades. We're going to see some Hellion drops here from GoOdy to try to get little advantages, and that's usually from what you see from meching players. I mean, Hellions are really like your SWAT team when you play Mech, right? You can't lose too many of them because you need them to buffer for your Thors and tanks later on in the game. But early on, you can send out a lot, do a lot of drops, just kind of be out on the map scouting with them. So Hellion usage is so important in what would look to be an otherwise very, very passive way to play the game. It's actually a little bit more active than people think.
All right. Well, SjoW going to try and bust his way in. But of course, he already runs up against a couple of tanks, loses one of his Hellions, almost lost a couple more as well.
Yep.
Didn't really do any damage in return, so he'll have to back up. But, of course, 4th base is done, 5th base on the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a total of 9 command centers in construction or finished at the 14-minute mark.
All right. So, this is going to definitely be a late-game TVT. Very cool.
All right. Well, we'll see if this is going to come down to like one big engagement, if we're going to see,
Maybe. I like that GoOdy has a little bit quicker upgrades here, showing that he is the tank commander. Both of these guys, though, making 4 tanks at once. GoOdy getting 2 extra factories. He will have what could possibly be a little bit of economic lead once he moves over his command centers. And here's a big fight.
Yeah, kind of an interesting decision. He decides to move in there before his tanks were sieged up. He actually gives his opponent the time to physically siege up those tanks. SjoW actually has to lift off, though, because the Thors were running in behind. They are able to pick off a couple additional Vikings. That Thor's got to get out of there.
Well, I've got a feeling here, too, that SjoW dropped those Vikings for just a moment to take a round of siege tank fire from GoOdy's tanks, just to give his tanks then a little bit of an advantage. And, yeah, there was a bit of a Hellion drop there. Doesn't look like it did a whole lot, though. In fact, it did actually not a whole lot. Maybe about 6 workers total killed this game.
Yeah.
That's what it said, yeah.
That's absolutely what it said. But GoOdy does have a nice little supply lead now. He's starting to take his 4th. But, of course, he's a little bit ahead on those upgrades because he was a little bit quicker to tech. But, SjoW's just a little bit quicker with all those bases coming up. But now sitting on fewer workers than his opponent.
Yeah, GoOdy with 2 Thors already. A bunch of tanks here. Mech just looks cool, man. I don't care. I just like the way it looks when it's moving around here. SjoW unsieging, then sieging again. Oh, that's dangerous.
No kidding. He would have had an extra 2 shots at this time, and now he's getting everything obliterated.
That's bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that doesn't help at all. GoOdy just rolling over this army completely right now. A bad time to unsiege for SjoW. And that's all it takes. I mean, mirror matchups are just so unforgiving. One small mistake like that, and you could lose a base or 2. Although attacking into these siege tanks may not be the wisest idea. I don't know if GoOdy has quite enough to push at this point.
No, well,
never mind, he does.
He lost quite a bit, though. So not the. I mean, this is the point where he feels that he's just so overconfident. He's like, well, nothing's going to stop me anyway.
Yep.
But I've got to say, kind of an interesting decision to move in quite that far so quickly.
Well, generally, if you're over 150 supply, and we have a drop doing more damage here as well, generally if you're over 150 supply as a mech player, you're good to move out as long as your base isn't too vulnerable.
Yeah.
And GoOdy just has a huge advantage right now. I mean, he's going to kill this 4th base of SjoW, no problem. And after that, he's going to have a decent economy lead there. Oh, 29 workers killed too already.
Yeah, no kidding. So he's up 87 to 45 workers.
Yeah.
You do take those 42 workers out of it. It represents about a 40 supply deficit in overall army as well. So
that's right.
And looks like SjoW going to try and siege up on the high ground, just out of the range of those siege tanks, though. So SjoW not really, not able to counterattack, not doing any dropping, anything along those lines. It's just a big stalemate now, as GoOdy does manage to take out the command center, and he's going to go back home.
Yeah, why not? I mean, he's ahead in every conceivable way, including upgrades. He's got +1 attack, where SjoW only has a +1 right now for his. So why not? Why not just go home, make sure that you can max out again? And I've got a feeling GoOdy's going to be back fairly soon. I mean, the thing is that there's no real need for GoOdy to push right now, because he knows that position is just very hard to attack on this map. So why not just kind of keep your opponent on 3 bases and starve them out? That seems like a much better way to win the game to me than just risk everything with this big attack into siege tanks on the high ground, right?
Right.
So GoOdy absolutely playing this right now.
Yep, GoOdy is maxed, though, and starting to bank a few resources, so we'll reinvest back into his infrastructure and upgrades, make sure those are in place, make sure his 5th base is running, and he'll decide to move out after that, or so I would imagine. So, SjoW actually doesn't have a lot of defenses here sitting around this 3rd. There is a potential for GoOdy to start kind of utilizing that as a weak point, which he's not quite doing that, but he could very well if he wanted to.
Yeah, that's what he knows, is that is a little bit of a weak spot for SjoW's army here. SjoW, though, trying to maybe come out and get a bit of a flank here as he protects that new 4th base.
Yeah, and it looks like trying to go after this bunker, very low in health, and it does go down. So now GoOdy does have an opportunity to start moving in. SjoW actually completely unsieged off to the right-hand side. And, gonna land the Vikings on top. He does draw some of the fire from those tanks, but not all the tanks were sieged up for GoOdy. So he still does have enough left over that he can start going after SjoW's own tanks.
Yep, that's right. Things actually still looking very good for GoOdy right now. About 90 supply ahead in overall supply and producing some more command centers. SjoW, was able to kill off a lot of tanks, but he's not in a position where he can really advance onto GoOdy's army. All he has is that. He's just got 5 tanks. No way he can take out GoOdy with that. So, unfortunately for SjoW, it's just not looking very good.
No, just kind of spiraling a little bit. Thor sitting there with 12 HP, counting his lucky stars that he's still alive. And GoOdy, though, he's starting to rally in with quite a few more units. I mean, he's only 13 supply away from maxed once again.
Yep. I'd love to see him drop a couple mules to repair there, too. That's always a nice little touch when you have some of those units. I mean, that 12 hit point Thor, you should do it. You should heal it, man. It's worth it.
9 kills, man. It's paid for itself. Those are mech units it's killed.
It's not going to do anything in the next fight, too. It's just going to immediately run in and die in one hit. And it looks like it doesn't matter, though. Obviously, GoOdy has just way too much stuff to lose the game or lose fights at this point.
And the Thor did die to one hit. But GoOdy going to be able to siege up this base one more time. And, SjoW immediately picks up and leaves. GoOdy could start to press in, though, as we mentioned before, he is almost max. We can see he's got quite a few forces still rolling across the map. Could start to flank those tanks out as well. And at this point, honestly, GoOdy's even so far ahead that he could start to cost inefficiently exchanging if he wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, GoOdy is looking basically unbreakable right now.
All right, well, SjoW gets a lot of his tanks forward. Looks like GoOdy going to try and flank and take some of those units out. Hellions do go down very quickly, but SjoW doesn't have a lot left over. Starting to roll back home, just 2 tanks remaining in that force.
Yeah, and what's the overall tank count right now? I believe it would be 7. 6 now. Yeah, and GoOdy should just be able to roll over this. The amount of Thors is increasing to the point where he can just kind of push. Thors, of course, are very good against siege tanks, even siege ones. GG, and GoOdy takes